If you think that the Karoo is just a dry wasteland, you couldn't be more wrong. There's water, even in unknown places. Water brings life to birds of all kinds. Don't forget fish, as well as mammals. But it's so much more. It's a gem, just waiting for you to discover it. I decided to take a week and travel the Klein Karoo with my trusty kids, Blow Blast. I spent 2 nights at the Backpackers in Oudtshoorn, 1 night on the border, and then a few nights on a real ostrich farm with my mate Daniel, who can open an ostrich egg with a spoon. Speaking of food, I ate myself into an even rounder shape than I previously was. It wasn't all takeaways, mind you. I also made a popular South African broodjie next to a dirt road. I had an amazing experience with a cheetah, a lioness, a leopard, and a lemur. I visit the home of Afrikaans icon C.J. Langenhoven and see where he sat and wrote his stem. Also see where he sat and did something else. We visit where he carved Harry into a rock and discover a huge rock nearby. Could this be the real Harry Klip, complete with waterfall and a cave? Did Sia sit here? We visit some local spots in the Rust, and I'll visit my old job. 2 of them actually. Got to learn some of the ins and outs of the ostrich farming industry, and I almost accidentally stole a donkey cart.
Whoa!
This is the Naked Karoo. Episode 1. I spent a few nights with my mates in the Langkloof as I planned my journey into the Karoo. The weather threatened to ruin my trip, but I am hardkoppig and decided to soldier ahead. This would be the first time in 3 years that I returned to my hometown. My first stop was of course in search of something to graze on, and I stopped at the first restaurant that I saw. The bike lover in me made a tiny accident in the front of my pants. You can spend an eternity gawking at the decor. There's ample space and even a very colourful chess set and a putt-putt course. There's a cock for the cockpit in the kids area, and there's even a plane inside the restaurant. Oh yeah, the food. Lekker Rooster Cooker with bacon and cheese. The amount of filling on the inside was satisfying. Overall, the taste was good, but the cook wasn't the freshest ever, and I like me a fresh cook. Still, it was good, and the chips were an added bonus. Overall, as Rooster Cooker goes, 7 out of 10. I then visit what I believe should be a sacred spot for all Afrikaans speakers, Arbeidsgenot, the home and resting place of C.J. Langenhoven. For a mere 20 rand, I got a glimpse into the life of a legend. I even learned that he was a keen woodworker, among other things. It's great to see that people still often visit. Info can be found on every room. You first enter the kitchen, as much as you can enter it with a glass wall in your way. This made filming challenging, but I'm glad that it's all well preserved. If it wasn't for the glass, I'd probably go sit here. I'd definitely pull this chain. Everything is old. Even the knife polisher. Who even still polishes their knives? Reserved jars made by Mrs. Langenhoven herself are still found in the scullery. Some rooms are eerie, but all of them have one thing in common: books. He even made this wooden box to hold the book, along with other furniture in the house. What secrets did he take with him to his grave? Was Langenhoven 'n groot wildjagter? The most important room is this one. This is where he wrote the stem. In this exact chair by this fireplace, he sat and wrote a piece of the national anthem. If the walls and furniture could only speak. I then saw the man himself. Well, sort of. As a kid, I remember this being the first sundial that I ever saw. Before departing from Arbeidsgenot, I simply had to see the stoep. Satisfied by the stoep, I booked into the Backpackers, where I'd be spending 2 nights. A massive tree brings welcome shade to the middle of the common area. It's a beauty to behold. There's more than enough to keep you entertained. Darts, pool, coffee, and some very trippy masks. The ambiance is very relaxed, and you can easily cool off. The shed quarters are very modern, and everything was built by my mate Mario himself. The bathrooms, however, were even better. You can shower while watching the sky, or watch the sky while doing something else that involves this face. There's ensuite bathrooms in all the doubles, along with decor, fans, and this old TV. There's also a modern one. Make sure to check out Uthando Backpackers in Oudtshoorn. For dinner, I ordered myself some pizza from a local restaurant. The first one was decent, but the banana on it didn't fit so well. The second, however, was much better. I turned in early as the next day would physically ruin me. First on the agenda, food. No, not the peacock. I was just watching them, trying to figure out if they ever get to make babies, as I always just see males display. And then, you go, boy. After watching the birds get fed, I decided to feed myself. Boeretroos with a simple breakfast. Delicious and exactly what I needed. Unsurprisingly, I wasn't the only one enjoying a brekkie. I also saw some dirty teenage ostriches. Actually, this is the evil cousin of the ostrich, the emu. There's some farm animals. And then I saw the cutest chick ever, with very protective parents. You can do a foofy slide if you'd like to. Or even paddle some boats with your feet. So visit Wilgewandel if you want to find some rest in your weary travels. I was now off to the first job that I had straight out of high school, the Kango Caves. I was once a guide at this magnificent facility. They have an interpretive center that's free to visit, where you can take a glimpse at the pioneers that entered these caves. And even the tools that they used, and even older tools, and even older fossils. You can spend an eternity learning all the facts. Or watch a movie about the parts of the cave that nobody get to see. Let me explain. This is the adventure tour, and it goes 1.2 kilometers into the cave. It's known as Cango 1, but it's only a part of the 5.4 kilometers that is the Kango Caves. It's big, but also small. I got a cold reminder of just how small the tunnels in the cave actually are. And yes, you can test to see if you'll fit. The old ticket office still stands next to the entrance. The time has come. The snow covered the mountain, but I had my shorts on. This is a warm cave, and I am prepared. In the entrance, there's an exhibit of the early inhabitants of this cave. And when we got to the first chamber, it was dark. We saw where its discoverer came down, the light that he used, and how dim it actually was. Pity that he couldn't see the cave today. Stalactites grow from the ceiling down, and stalagmites from the ground up. When they meet, it's a column. And two make a double column. Flowstone formations form from cracks in the wall. The second chamber is the most beautiful. I call this the ice cream, or the head of a petrified tree is what this looks like. Some visitors take the easy tour, but we did not. First, some stairs, followed by more stairs. We then did some stairs, and finally on flat ground, the guide revealed more stairs. This would be where the tunnels start. The first is more uncomfortable than anything else, with a high chance of hitting your head. I made it through, but this was the easiest tunnel. This ladder leads to suffering. I decided to leave my camera behind and only take my extremely old GoPro. The ladder was cold and wet. A traffic jam seems to have formed in front of me. I paced myself. Take a breather. The kid in front of me slips. He recovers, and I heed the warning. The GoPro's flashing light gives the ladder menacing red eyes. Now the part where all tall people struggle. Getting my leg up meant relying on my arms to keep me from slipping and certain death. I slowly inched myself forward. I made it, but this wasn't even the tunnel. That would turn out to be way worse than I remember. And then I got stuck. I retreat, take a breath, and think light thoughts. There we go. Almost done now. And before I knew it, I made it. There's little time for celebration. Past the devil's workshop, the chimney awaits. It's a small opening with very little light. There's protrusions in the rock where you need to wiggle your feet in. Your arms also play a vital role in pulling yourself up. Here, the no touching rule flies out the window. I'd always made it, but the last bit seemed to be the worst. I managed to free myself from the clutches of the tunnel. Took a minute to catch my breath, and then leopard crawled to freedom. I switched my GoPro to my hand and forced myself through the tunnel, falling and rolling on the other side. If all of that wasn't enough, we had to walk all the way back to the same area as where we started. While heading back, I noticed something strange. The water level was originally quite high, and then it dropped. And now there's barely water. Back through the tunnels. The Tunnel of Love seemed a lot easier on the way back, but I soon realized that I am extremely unfit. I made sure to hold on extra tightly as I approached the ladder. Ja, someone with groot knaters came through, yeah, eh? More stairs, and then the worst is over. So close now. I can feel the cold of the outside. After exiting, I did what I've wanted to do ever since the tour started. Remember kids, there's no toilets inside the cave. I took in the views for old time's sake and headed back to town. I did, however, make a quick detour. Karusa. Any beer that you could want. Any wine. And even flavored gins. What a great spot to blow. They also serve some chow and have an Oudtshoorn license. Take a walk in the vineyard, or just sit next to the dam. I am a firm believer in science. So I had to grab a big boy. One more quick stop, Buffelsdrift. I barely entered and I saw our national animal. It's free to enter, but you can do so many activities. If you're broke like me, just watch the fish and the birds and the cutest turtle ever. Excited to see more animals, I headed to the best job that I ever had. Cango Wildlife Ranch. It was once a crocodile farm, but now houses animals of all different kinds, with their main focus being conservation through education. In the Valley of Ancients, you enter another world. Filled with inquisitive birds and animals that have surprisingly good eyesight. Bats, flying foxes to be exact. Sadly, the sloth was moved to a different location to keep warm, which I didn't mind because the animals always come first. Luckily, Speckles put on quite a show. Have you ever seen a happier animal? These animals live better lives than a lot of pets that I've seen. They definitely only eat the finest food. However, the bird next door will eat anything and everything. The marabou stork. His roommates know to avoid him at all costs, because that beak will do some serious damage. Their legs are actually black, but they defecate on them to cool down in summer. Strangely, his roommates don't seem to mind this habit. Just don't try this at home. Flamingos aren't pink, but rather they get the color from the food that they eat. Hippos are well known as dangerous animals, but less known is their cousin, the pygmy hippo. The size difference is obvious, as is their contentment. They can even secrete a liquid from their skin that acts as sunblock. This peacock had a lucky break jumping into this enclosure. If he jumped into the one behind him, it would be a completely different story. No mealy is left uneaten. They even have an albino porcupine, complete with red eyes. Below a window, I saw a hole. I entered and emerged next to a Cape vulture. My attention then moved to a big crocodile. Crocodiles can hold their breath for over an hour, which is why you never see one wearing scuba gear. For protection, they have crocodile Kevlar, called osteoderms, and they can regrow their teeth. I don't know how Oaks used to wrestle these monsters. I was shaking just standing next to one. Now this bra will relieve you of all your fingers in seconds. I also found a familiar sign. The search for my name was on. Yes, this is my real name as it's found on my ID. After watching a meerkat keep watch, I entered the snake house. There's not only snakes, but also cuddly reptiles. Mostly snakes, but more importantly, critically endangered, radiated tortoises. And a lot of them. Off to the catwalk. where I saw a variety of felines. My favorite is still Nanji, always keen to strike a pose. Sandile and Tribe were up to their usual antics. These are lions because the whole day they're just lying around. I also got a glimpse of Nevada. I was surprised to find new additions to the animal encounters. I just had to investigate some old and new favorites. Safety protocols ensure that the animals stay healthy. We made our way below the catwalk until we got to our spot. The handler showed me exactly where to sit and touch the cheetah. And I happily followed suit. His hair was a lot softer than I expected, and his eyes full of life. He seemed very interested in my tattoo. Did you know that a cheetah's nose forms a perfect heart? Check it out. I finally decided to show him my tattoo, and then left him to go look at some lions. Sandile came over and I got to do something that I never thought I'd do. Feed a lioness. I never noticed her beauty spot or how massive she actually is. Then my heart nearly exploded. She looks small, but when she stands up, I couldn't contain my excitement. I've never been happier. Whoever had the idea for this encounter, truly, thank you. Now for some monkey business. Technically, they're not monkeys, they are lemurs. Each fingerprint is as unique as humans. These are ring-tailed lemurs. Can you see why?
Softer. Yes.
As encouragement, he gets a healthy smoothie. He then left to do something unspeakable. And then came right back to sit on my lap. Not sure which one, but one of these brown lemurs is called Mort. Just look at those teeth. After spending some time watching the bat-eared foxes, I headed towards the prison. On the dirt road next to the prison, I made my way to the best sunset spot in town. From here, you can see the whole town. After some speculating, I decided to do what I've always wanted to do. If I get caught, I might be spending my evening with the boys down in the Chuki. But the pros outweigh the cons, and I stripped down to my birthday suit. Well, at least I had shoes on. I can't think of a better way to mark the halfway point of my journey in the Karoo. In part 2, I cook food next to a dirt road, look at an old dam, learn about farms, see a waterfall, and, well,
Starting to come.
Stick around.